The Cry of Balintawak occurred on August 26, 1896. The cry, defined as the turning point when the Filipinos finally refused Spanish colonial dominion over the Philippine Highlands. With tears in their eyes, the people as one man pulled out their cedulas and tore them into pieces. Background of the author: Soledad Borromeo Buehler had her preparatory education at Central Escolar University and received her bachelor's and master's degrees in history from the University of the Philippines. She was a member of the UP History Department prior to her departure for the United States on a Fulbright Hays Scholarship and received her PhD in history from the University of California at Berkeley in 1972. She wrote about the Japanese and the Davao Land Problem, 1901 to 1941, for her master's thesis, and the social and economic history of Cavite entitled El Cadiz Filipino, Spanish Colonial Cavite, 1571 to 1896, for her doctoral dissertation. She also had her teaching assistantship in the History Department of the University of California in Berkeley, taught at various times at the College of Alameda, San Jose State University, and the San Francisco State University. Soledad Borromeo Buehler is the granddaughter of Guillermo Masangkay, a Katipunero who worked closely with Andres Bonifacio from the earliest days of the Katipunan. Participated in the events in Balintawak in August 1896. In the rebel effort to attack Intramuros on 29 to 30 of August 1896, and who nearly lost his life in the Battle of Zapote against the forces of General Lawton in June 1899. Historical background of the document: The Cry of Balintawak, which is translated in Filipino, Sigaw ng Balintawak, and in Spanish, Grito de Balintawak, was the beginning of the Philippine Revolution against the Spanish Empire. The first cry is a historical event where the Filipinos tore their cedulas, which were addressed Bonifacio, is the sign of slavery for the Filipinos to the Spaniards. In late August 1896, members of the Katipunan, led by Andres Bonifacio, revolted somewhere around Caloocan, which included parts of the present-day Quezon City. The inscription of Viva la Independencia Filipina can also be referred as term for the cry, which is literally accompanied by patriotic shouts. Because accounts of the event vary, the exact date and place of the event is unknown. From 1908 until 1963, the event was thought to have occurred on August 26 in Balintawak. In 1963, the Philippine government declared August 23 to be the date of the event in Quezon City. The term cry is translated from the Spanish El Grito de Rebelión or Cry of Rebellion, or El Grito for short. Thus, the Grito de Balintawak is comparable to Mexico's Grito de Dolores of 1810. However, El Grito de Rebelión strictly refers to a decision or call to revolt. It does not necessarily connotes shouting, unlike the Filipino sigaw. The three primary sources are the accounts of Dr. Pio Valenzuela, a Filipino physician and revolutionary leader. At the age of 23, he joined the Society of Katipunan, a movement which sought the independence of the Philippines from Spanish colonial rule and started the Philippine Revolution. Santiago Alvarez, a revolutionary general and founder and honorary president of the first dectorate of the short-lived earlier Partido Nacionalista, which existed from 1901 to 1907. and Guillermo Masangkay. They participated in the revolution as the witnesses on the happenings during the revolution. Their accounts becomes our background knowledge on what really happened that day.
Content and contextual analysis of the important historical information found in the document. In August 1896, the Filipinos tore up the cedulas that symbolize our expulsion from the Spanish rule. On August 21, 1896, at the house of Apolonio Samson, the first cry in Balintawak took place under the leadership of Andres Bonifacio and other leader of the group. Caloocan covers Balintawak. August 24, 1896, when Andres Bonifacio came to Balintawak to encourage those who will join the rebellion. When they arrived at Balintawak, they suddenly shouted, "Long live the Philippines!" And then the big guns that Bonifacio named as the Gitag exploded of all the location that Bonifacio and other defenders of the town went to. Balintawak, the first place they went to start a parade. For 100 years, the Cry of Balintawak has become a national symbol that is proud and respected by all Filipinos around the world. Its importance is not only as a sign of the fight for national freedom and dignity, but also as a proof that Filipinos have a deep and honest relationship between each other. Balintawak continues to be proclaimed and appreciated every year to honor those who led the fight against love for self and country. By remembering the Cry of Balintawak, we can continue to celebrate the first Filipino fight for their freedom and safety. August 23, 1896, the Supremo and his troop formally launched an armed revolution against the Spanish. And they tore their president certificates or cedula, which symbolized their defendants against from the colonializer. After reaching out of the information in Cry of Balintawak, I was able to know that Balintawak is a native dress Filipino woman consisting of dress and skirt, woven local fibers with a kerchief and apron to match. And the one who wrote the Katipunan of the Revolution was Santiago Alvarez. Contribution and relevance of the document in understanding in the grand narrative of the Philippine history. The Filipinos considered this document as the tangible proof of the blood, sweat, and tears that our beloved countrymen fought for. The Filipinos exhibited different type of greed when fighting for freedom from Spanish abuse and injustice. We Filipinos commemorate freedom and independence on the day that the Act of Proclamation of Independence has declared in honor for those who dedicated their sweat and blood to our beloved country. The dictatorial government of the Philippines designated Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista to proclaim and solemnize the Declaration of Independence. In accordance with the decree of egregious dictator Don Emilio Aguinaldo y Fami, on the day before this proclamation, many battles between the Filipino civilians and the Spaniards were taking place. For 100 years, the Philippines had been occupied and colonialized by Spain. On June 12, 1898, former Philippine President Emilio Aguinaldo and the Filipino rebels proclaimed the independence of the Philippines in Kuwait, Cavite. This official declaration commemorates the Filipino people and our nation's fight from the near 300 years reign of Spanish rule. The cry of the rebellion in Pugadlawin marked the beginning of the Philippine Revolution in 1896, which ultimately led to Philippine independence in 1898. The Philippine Revolution awakened a proud sense of nationalism among the Filipinos. The revolution aimed to resist colonialism, and this aim brought together people from different backgrounds. The revolution started in 1896 and was majorly against Spanish authorities. Unexpected detention and mistreatment by the civil guard have caused the death of many who have broke the rules and regulation. In August 1896, Bautista began a revolution in hopes of regaining the independence and sovereignty the Spanish had taken away from the people, which was enforced by Governor Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, who followed the plan of his predecessor Ferdinand Magellan when he landed on the coast of Cebu and took control of the island through a pact of friendship with Chief Tupas despite the risk of being killed if he failed. Aguinaldo sought to convince other Filipinos to fight against a Spanish control in the Philippines, as well as to gain recognition of the Philippines' sovereignty from other countries. He considered that it was the right time to officially declare the country's independence after the initiation of a dictatorial administration.